It's time for Pucknology. Pucknology. After dark. After dark. Oh my.
Oh my, did we say desert dogs enough times? As of right now, I believe we only had 26. If you're doing the drinking game tonight, please be near a hospital and get a safe ride home.
Dude, I stopped after my third beer. I was like, this is going to get out of hand.
Welcome to this edition of Technology After Dark, following a 3-1 Sharks victory over the Desert Dogs. If you want to be a part of the show,
You motherfucker.
use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. Follow us on Twitter at Pucknology, at PuckGuy14, at AJ_Strong, at Eric Landy. And with us tonight, the usual suspects, Eric Landy.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
How you guys doing? Not the best, not the most auspicious start, but hey, whatever.
To this broadcast or to the game?
No, to this broadcast. No, the game was good. Life is good. Getting some wins, getting a desperately needed win. So, yeah, just rolling.
And Chris JWS.
Yeah, I was drinking 4% beer tonight because I was just like, I don't want to get too trashed if I'm going to be on the thing tonight. It's like, damn you, Randy, every time. Desert dogs, desert dogs, desert dogs.
And Brody, for that matter.
Sorry, AJ.
Fucking assholes.
and the one rocking the nice sweet hoodie that's costing way too much money for me to buy, AJ Strong.
But it's damn good looking, bro. Yeah, dude, I thought Brody was going to kill me with all the Desert Dog mentions in the pregame, man. Between him and Kubra, I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to be dead before the game starts.
We counted a total of 26 for everyone, so again, please be safe. Please get home safely if you have been doing the Desert Dog drinking game. All right, let's talk Sharks.
And be careful if you're playing the row game.
Oh, yeah.
Be adding to it.
Row Desert Dogs. Row Desert Dogs.
On the last broadcast of the year, I just want Landy to sing "Row, row, row your boat."
Yeah. What, you want me to kill Gen X?
Yes.
Wow, Gen X. I did not say that at all. All right, let's talk about this game. Good, solid road victory. This one leapfrogs us over those Vancouver row Canucks.
Or lack of row Canucks, just for you. Well, we'll get into that later.
All right, I'll start with AJ. Good evening, sir. 3-1, Sharks win.
Yeah, good, solid road game. They didn't feel like they tried to get too fancy with things. They just put their nose down, and we're very much workmen in this win. Nothing very flashy. I liked it. Anytime you can get 2 points, it's always a beautiful thing, especially against a team that you're going to have to see 4 more times that plays in your division. So I just liked a very workman-like effort, not a lot of fanciness. I don't know if the lack of penalties had anything to do with it, but nice workman effort tonight from the guys.
Chris?
Yeah, I agree with AJ's take there. It wasn't flashy, but it was a lunch pail type of game. You know, they started out pretty strong in the first, then second, just kind of they kept it even. Third, most of it was good. They kind of hung on at the end there, but it was the right way to start a series against a team that you're going to see 4 more times that is neck and neck with you for second place or third place in the division. So I think it was a good start to playing the Coyotes like 5 times over the next 2 months.
Landy?
Well, I think they did a really good job playing their game plan, their road game. They didn't get sucked into the Coyotes' trap and their lull kind of falling you to sleep game in the first and second period. In that third period, the Coyotes didn't really stick to their game plan. You saw them pressing really hard in the third period, and they were bringing up those two rear defensemen pressing in the play. They also had two forecheckers coming in really strong. So the Coyotes kind of got away from their game in the third to try and manufacture a goal, but the Sharks were pushing play. And that's good to see against the Coyotes team that normally lulls the Sharks team to bed. I mean, we've seen games where the Sharks team can't get anything but a goal out against Mike Smith, and you've got this Coyote team just rocking into sleep in the neutral zone, but not tonight. They came through the neutral zone. They broke through their normal defensive front that the Coyotes put up, and it was a good game, and just got to keep playing that way. That's the kind of blueprint to break the Coyotes of their game.
And for those trying to play the Desert Dogs game with us, chats and tweets don't work. It's broadcast only. Just fair warning.
Yeah, so you can say...
AJ, I'm trying to pace myself here. Come on, man.
Hey, at least it's better than trying to figure out what the fuck they are if they're Arizona or Phoenix, okay? At least we don't have to worry about geography with Desert Dogs.
Oh, boy.
Here's the thing, though, is either way, I just hear a place I have no desire to go to.
Just a place that's good for golfing.
It's the difference between Cleveland and Ohio. Like, either way, I just hear some place I have no intention of ever going.
Actually, it's not bad. Been there a couple times. It's actually a nice place.
Just don't go in the summer.
Aside from spring training, there's no good reason to go to Phoenix.
Or
Mesa can be a fun area to hang.
But look at it this way, guys. I mean, with 4 more meetings up until the end of the season, there's bound to be a game where you could go do Giants or A's spring training, or whoever you like in spring training, drive to Glendale, catch a Sharks game.
Yeah,
you mean catch like multiple Sharks games?
Yeah, dude, 20th of March, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about being in SoCal is that you kind of get the opportunity to either go north a little bit, maybe about an hour and a half to Anaheim or LA, or you can go east and you can hit a Coyotes game, and it's kind of a good place to spring off of. And now San Diego's got the goals, so hey, I got to go see when our baby Sharks go play them.
Yeah, Coyotes tickets are pretty cheap, right?
Yeah, they are really cheap.
Yeah, and speaking of which, not to divest off a little bit, February 2nd, I know there's an invasion set for Anaheim. I believe myself and Pucknology will be in attendance, and but I mean, we're looking at tickets, and the tickets were really cheap for that.
When is it?
See them be February 2nd.
AJ ponders.
I think I will be bringing my family up from SoCal, and I think we'll go see that game too. So,
but I believe sections 407 and 408 are reserved for the Teal City Crew. So if you follow Teal City Crew on Twitter, make sure you get in touch with them. And I know they've done some events in Arizona as well. So
will there be buttons?
Dude,
we will get to buttons a little bit later in the program, but let's get back to this game.
Hold on, I just want to point out one thing that is maddening to me, is the fact that I'm just staring at the calendar off to my side here. I see that the Sharks hosted Anaheim twice, both on Saturday nights, yet I'm looking at 2 games in Anaheim, one on Tuesday and one on a Thursday. Can we get a goddamn concerted effort to have a weekend game in SoCal so people can, trek down for the weekend?
Could we play Friday, Saturday, Kings, Ducks back-to-back? I mean, that's
back, or the fact that it's like, man, put that shit on the fucking weekend, man, every time.
I think the schedule maker would be straining himself too hard to try and get that crazy math to work.
Sorry. The schedule makers all out of fucks to give after. They're like, okay, so once every 16 games we have to have Flyers and Penguins, and we need to put this on rivalry night or Sunday. Like that's all the effort they give.
No. You guys, it's totally wrong. You have to make sure. The schedule starts out with putting Toronto on at 4 p.m. Pacific time every Saturday night, no matter how bad they suck.
Okay, and this is a good point to talk about tonight's game. Why the hell does Arizona not observe daylight savings? This is so stupid.
I have
It's
a better
either-
question.
I think
why
daylight
do we
savings
observe
sucks.
daylight savings?
Yeah,
I
I
just-
think
I
daylight
don't-
savings is shit to begin with.
I don't care what happens, but God, please just stay on the same time as us. Whether we go there or they come to us, I don't care. But it's
Technically,
stupid.
we leave them. Technically,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that everybody else has it wrong. Arizona has it right on that one.
I believe
Okay, well-
Arizona and Saskatchewan are the two
The
areas
previous-
that don't do
It was previously Indiana, too, but for some reason they fell in line.
Well, like I said, it's stupid because I have to try and get home an hour earlier. San Diego traffic at 5 o'clock is ridiculous. It's going to take me at least an hour to get home, and so I have to listen to Dan and McLaren, who was on the radio tonight, and McLaren is out of practice. Let's put it mildly.
Is he? Well, let's compare it. McLaren or Maley?
McLaren.
Melee. I'll take Melee.
See, I'll take McLaren just because he's a rookie now. We've already seen the best we're going to get from Maley. I'd be more interested to see what could be in McLaren because I'm kind of done with Maley.
What about Nolan? How did he do? I remember he did a game or two.
I enjoyed him.
Decent. Yeah, he was
I
decent.
enjoyed him.
Nice. All right. Jones tonight. What did you guys think of him? He seemed to turn in another solid performance.
Well, I think that also lends into the fact that, as we stated at the top, the defense played a workmanlike effort. They weren't trying to play over their skates. So they weren't putting Jones into positions, that were going to be bad for him. There was a couple times that, the puck got through that probably shouldn't have, but Jones was there. Everything was fine. He was calm, cool, and collected. They mentioned it on the broadcast tonight that he seems to have found a rhythm. It wouldn't surprise me if Jones goes back, both games back to back, Saturday and Sunday this weekend, and then maybe you give Stalock the Colorado game, and then have a nice break off for the All-Star game.
Yeah, I'd be of the opinion to give him or split those games with Stalock, but that's beside the point. But I agree with AJ. The defense didn't do anything stupid tonight. But also, Jones didn't do anything stupid like try to skate the puck up to half ice and pass it up or something. That's the next thing Stalock's going to try to do, right? I mean, we've had
Don't pull
What
What
are you talking about? He's gonna join the rush. Come on now.
No, dude, he's going to go for a Nabokov at Vancouver power play goal.
Yes.
I could get down with that because I don't care. I love that. or he'll
that's
ice
one
the
of my
puck.
favorite
I'll
moments.
take him icing the puck. That'd be hilarious.
Yes.
So he ends the night with 24 saves, 1 goal against, had a .958 save percentage. Just a really good outing for him. So actually, shots against is 24. So he had 22 of 23. So
You know who had probably the best outing of in a long time was Mike Brown.
You mean he
with
did
an
something
assist
well?
tonight? Mike Brown had an assist tonight.
I don't know, man. I think we need to check Tierney's back to make sure it's not broken from Mike Brown being carried on him.
What's the minutes? Anybody got them handy?
I'm looking it up right now.
I've got him.
You got him?
Yeah.
Brown. Where are you?
All right,
604. He played
604.
604.
So he seems to. It's increasing. I mean, we all remember that game a couple of weeks ago where he took the double minor, was in the box for 4 minutes, and I believe played 4:35. Then the last game, I believe he was right around 5 minutes. Now he's at 6 minutes. So clearly, PDB is seeing something that he's liking with that. I think it also goes to Stan that part of it too is just giving Tierney more and more ice, and Brown just happens to be dragging Brown with him.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Honestly, I wouldn't surprise if they bench Brown next game for like producing a point or something. Because I mean, it seems like the less he produces, the more time they give him. So.
Well, if Zubris is healthy.
Yeah, Zupas is healthy. That's the one thing. And the other thing too, Brown has played fairly well. Let's give him that. The last few games, like I said, he's been getting the pucks deep. He's been throwing the body around, which is something, outside Tommy Wingles, I don't think nobody does too much of. And he, let's put it this way: he isn't making bad mistakes.
No.
Yeah,
So that's a
in
good
his
thing,
limited
right?
time, he hasn't been bad, but at the same time, they clearly don't trust him to play too much, and they are giving him a lot of soft matchups in either neutral zone or offensive zone. So they are sheltering him and not playing him any minutes. So it's they're setting him up to not fuck up.
Agreed. I think they're putting him into a position where he can do the most good that he's able to do. Again, I'd like to see that fourth line gets more consistent minutes. Tierney had 12. You had Carlson had 11, 28, which is almost about 12. But you had just Mike Brown drop off with 6. So I'd like all of them to have even minutes spread across and really give those guys on the upper lines some time off. Some extra time on ice shifted away from them. But let's talk about the secondary scoring. We've got Tommy
That
Wingles.
continues.
Yeah, Tommy Wingles and
Tierney.
my boy Chris Tierney chipping in.
Your boy, he's my boy. I've been worshiping him on this show long before you.
I studied him from junior, so I think.
Well,
Okay.
The concern was
Oh
that
my
putting
God, you're both pretty ladies.
Thank you, AJ.
the concern was, I think, all along was if you move Hurdle up to the top 6, that's going to unbalance the forwards. And I think that was one of the issues we had. But it's actually done quite the opposite. Really, it's actually made the bottom 6 dependent on trying to get shots on goal and getting pucks on net, and it just seems to be going in for them, especially on the shorthanded goal with Long Beach native and Wingles.
You motherfucker.
But I think you're seeing this.
I was seeing those guys take a drink after I say Long Beach natives. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're just seeing that this Sharks team really feeds off its lower lines producing. I think the guys in the top 6 kind of get energized when they've got those guys in the bottom contributing goals. And I think, Patrick Marleau is going through kind of a slump right now in the last 6 or 7 games. So having that secondary scoring is really, alleviating the problem that he's not scoring.
It's really proven that he could be expendable for a trade.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that because we've got a little bit of rumors flying around again. That hot stove is starting to stoke up. What do you guys think about the Marleau rumors again?
I think Kevin Kurz owns that stove, by the way.
Real quick, yeah, he's the one stoking that fire. Real quick before we jump into that, though, to finish out the conversation about secondary scoring real quick, I brought up these numbers last game, but right now we're getting 12 goals from the lower tier guys, not the usual suspects. We got 11 goals from the usual suspects, and then 3 from Vlasic. I don't even know where to put him. So almost half our production for the last bunch of games starting after Detroit has been from the lower guys. I mean, I'm including Hurdle in that, but you know what I mean. Like the guys who haven't been scoring that much this season haven't contributing roughly half the goals. So big difference.
The thing I don't know if we've paid attention to it enough or if we've mentioned it enough. That goddamn Winnipeg game. Ever since that 4-1 just drubbing at home, the Sharks had just been bringing it, and it's been the thing that I've loved so much about it is that the scoring has been somewhat spread out. They've gotten over this hump of winning at home. I don't know why that's what it took, but apparently it is, and it seems to have turned this team around. That now we're seeing consistent effort, just a lot of consistency now in the game. So I love that part. I still, though, I mean, we're still gonna, whether it's talking about starting a player for 5 minutes a game and rather than calling up Goodrow or whatever, we're still gonna harp on Burns when he, I don't know, tries to act like a magic carpet, and we're still gonna harp on special teams. So,
yeah.
But at least we're seeing consistency. That's the point.
Yeah. How much did you guys all tighten up when he was on that power play at the very beginning of the shift in the third period? When there was 2 minutes and 24 seconds, and they trot him and Vlasic out. Like, Vlasic's going to make up for all of Burns' deficiencies. I was like, oh boy, I wouldn't do that. I would just put Vlasic and Braun.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with Vlasic out there, but yeah, sometimes it's situational things. So I totally see your point.
Yeah, I think Vlasic was out there because they knew it wasn't going to be a typical power play. Like, I cut him a break on that. That looked like shit, but, I mean, in that situation, I understand why the Coyotes were coming hard. And, hey, they actually scored a power play goal, technically. If you want to be technical about it, that was actually a power play goal by Marlowe. And speaking of which, we can transition now.
Well, I was going to say once again, though, that's what we have to remember. That pads the numbers. We have to take that shit into account. It's technically a power play goal, and it's Marlowe got a goal. Well, it was empty net. So
you figure all the times also they've scored a goal right after a power play ends, or they've had an amazing power play, but it just didn't. Like they get 6 shots on goal, but it doesn't go in. So it all evens out in the end.
Yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Nonetheless, it's a victory. It gets us leapfrogged over those 16-row Vancouver who won against
Eric,
Boston.
I don't know how many times you got to say it. It doesn't work when you say it.
I'm not trying to say it for you. I'm just trying to explain it. But, okay, I'm sorry. Vancouver won tonight, which means they have 16
rows.
There we go. All right, so here's the standings as of right now. Kings are losing to Minnesota 1-0. You know that they'll fall apart and LA's going to win, whatever. San Jose pulls within 10 points of them with 22
rows.
And that's the big tiebreaker right now. If they can keep Vancouver right under them, they will be ahead of them in the standings, which is always a good thing because they have 6 more
rows
than them. Arizona falls out of the playoff picture at the moment at 49. They are also 2 points out of a wild card spot. So that's one key to note because the wild card spot in the West is at 51. Anaheim's at 47, Calgary 45, Edmonton 43. Like I mentioned to our friends over at TSN 1040, the Pacific Division race is going to be the best one, I think.
No.
Down the stretch. Oh, hell yeah.
No, I think it'll be good, but, I mean, we're finally starting to see separation. It's like going into the game, oh, my God, 6 points separates second from seventh. But we're starting to see more and more separation. I think the top the battle for like the 2, 3, 4 spot, I think that should be fun. But I think
that's my point.
Yeah, that'll be all right. But
yeah, there'll be some intrigue. But really, honestly, the Central Division right now to me is the most interesting because that is to me, it's just like the Pacific was for years, where the Pacific was a brutal division and it was entertaining to watch to see who'd come out on top.
Well, I don't know that we can say that. Just go ahead, AJ.
I was just going to say, when getting back to the Pacific, I think we're all going to say, Edmonton is going to fall out of favor. Of course, having their top flight draft pick on the sidelines isn't helping them. Calgary, a lot of people's pick to kind of be the black sheep. I mean, granted, they did win a round in the playoffs last year versus Vancouver, but they were kind of a black sheep pick for some people, me included, because I just thought they had good balance and they had made some key additions in the offseason. Apparently, it just has not come together this year. And nobody predicted that Anaheim was just going to colossally shit the bed. And a lot of people had nowhere near thinking that Vancouver or Arizona would be this high up at this spot in the season. And in fact, one of the funniest lines I heard was from our friend Ian Reed when he was doing his Pacific Division preview, talking about, okay, who's coming in? Okay, well, we've got the additions of whether it was call-ups or draft picks that were going to be entering or people that were found through free agency, but it was like coming in Max Domi and going out winning, of course, and then so he had a good time with it, but nobody thought that this Pacific Division, the way that it is right now, with the exception of LA and San Jose being in the top 3, everything else has been completely off of everybody else's predicted radar at that point.
Well, the thing is funny about Anaheim is everyone's predicted for years, including myself, that they would drop off because if you look at their advanced stats, they've always defied. They've been like the anomaly that's defied the advanced stats. And it's like, how the hell do you guys keep winning so much when all the numbers say you shouldn't be? They've been that one anomaly. And hey, after like 6 years of this, I'm right, damn it.
And the fact that the Sharks have one of the most inexpensive starters in net, and I think that he makes the same amount as both of Anaheim's goalies put together.
Yeah, so I think we've all looked at Anaheim and said, well, wow, why are they doing so bad? And I give you one fancy stat, and people go out and research this one. This one's a pretty good one. It's called PDO, and this is basically the luck stat. And Anaheim had gotten PDOs out the roof for years, and it was kind of just defying the logic of the shooting percentage being so high and getting great goaltending at the same time. And now you're starting to see their shooting percentage is not so high, but their goaltending is what's keeping them afloat. Because John Gibson, boy, that kid can play.
And also look at how many games they won coming from behind in the third period last year. That luck is
one goal games too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to eventually run out of luck.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time.
And now they're a trap team. They're a trap team because they can't score enough. I mean, they've got a negative 15 differential right now, and that's horrible. That's really bad.
Yeah, Anaheim is the team that for years, like the Curzes of the world, have pointed to say, see, advanced stats are stupid, even though like 29 other teams in the league came pretty close to what the advanced stats showed, and maybe one or two anomalies. But Anaheim was the annual anomaly.
It was like Colorado last year, how Colorado kind of just fell off the face of the earth. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing with Anaheim, but their goaltending is kind of keeping them around like Varlamov did the year before.
See, I don't think the Colorado anomaly was last season. I think the anomaly with Colorado was the season before. Yeah,
last year's anomaly was Calgary. Calgary was there's a joke the Fear the Fin always uses. They call it the PDO Cup. Like every year, some team has that one season where just like their luck for a good portion of the season's off the charts. Anaheim's just been the annual, like they don't even give them the cup anymore because like you guys are just there. But
all right, one last standings piece that I kind of want to get to though.
Well, I got one after that, but go ahead.
Okay, well,
nope, just one.
Just one, damn it.
This wild card race, we always said that the two Central teams were going to get the wild card, but look at Arizona, man. They're one win out of a wild card spot, and I think it wouldn't be a stretch to say that Calgary may come back. I mean, it's only a 6-point gap for them, so I don't think that. I mean, the Pacific Division has got Edmonton in it, and it's got a bad Anaheim team, but I don't think it's as bad as everybody's making it out to be. I think that's definitely the pack has come closer back to the Central Division, although the Central's got those three heavyweights, I mean, with 60-plus points. But I think that's kind of the cream of the crop in that division. I think everybody else is kind of just filtering out in the bottom.
But with enough games, things are finally starting to, like, you're seeing a little separation, as we said earlier, especially even in the Central.
But here's the other thing, too. Chicago's played 50 games. St. Louis has played 50 games. Dallas has played 48. Then you kind of look at the Pacific Division teams. LA, 45. San Jose, 45. Vancouver's played 48. Arizona's played 46. So a lot of Pacific Division teams have a lot of games in hand on their Central Division counterparts. And one thing I was going to bring up was if we were still in that old 1-8 format, the Sharks are in 6th in the West.
With 5 games in hand.
Exactly. I mean,
and if Minnesota can hold on to this lead they've got right now, then the Sharks, if they can win their game in hand, they'll be 8 points back of the Kings again, and the Kings will get some pressure in their rearview mirror. So I think the Sharks are in a good spot. They just got to take advantage of these games in hand, especially against Vancouver
and Arizona.
Well, Vancouver more so because they're hanging around because of this stupid overtime point.
No, Vancouver because they're fucking Vancouver.
Just because they are.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 28 losses. They've got 8 more losses than they have wins. And these guys are in 3rd place. It's it's ridiculous. And we won't get into this again, but they've got to stomp on that Vancouver team because it's a pretender. It's not good. It's got a -15 differential.
Excuse me.
And to touch it up on there, only Edmonton has fewer
Rose.
than Vancouver does in the Western Conference right now.
And it does.
Vancouver has so many. Vancouver has far and away the most overtime losses, and that's what's keeping them in it. And
but that's
that's
going
to
back
suck
to
if
prove
you lose to that.
It goes back to prove that that something needs to be done, especially when you look at those numbers in the Pacific. Something has to be done about the 3-point games versus 2-point games. The fact that not every game is worth the same value. I would love to and see. Okay, homework for Landy. Work out the Pacific Division. That graphic that
Buckeyes got.
Yeah.
With the 3-point or without the loser point?
Yeah, that if the charity point did not exist, work out what the record would be if every game was worth 2 and if every win is worth 2, every loss is worth 0, then what are the standings at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So with the Sharks, you'd basically take away 3 points, so they'd be sitting at 48. Vancouver, you'd take away 11 points, so they're sitting at 40.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, so 40, yeah.
40. Arizona has got 44. Anaheim's got 40. Calgary's got 42. Edmonton's got 38. So the Sharks would still be in second.
The Sharks would be second,
but
Coyotes would be
drop like
third,
2 spots,
Calgary
right?
would be fourth, and then Vancouver, Arizona would be fifth and sixth, and then Edmonton would still be on the bottom.
Yeah,
so
so
it really
basically-
goes to show that charity point. Holy crap! What a difference that's making for Vancouver.
Well, and that's what's saving their buns right now.
They're the only team in the league that has double-digit OTLs.
Yeah.
Only team. Next closest is a bunch of teams tied with 8. They have
They're also the only team in the league that has double-digit douchebags on their roster. But anyway.
And going through it all, I think they are tied. 1, 2, 3. They are tied for the 4th fewest regulation overtime wins in the league, and they're sitting in the playoff spot.
So hold on a minute. Let's get back to double-digit douchebags. When do we play the Kings next?
I think that's this weekend.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Oh my God.
Dude, can you never do
Jeez,
that
dude.
again and
Never.
modulate and blow everybody's ears out, bro? Talk about a douchebag.
Was it a double-digit one or just single-digit?
No, that was just Eric being a total douche. Dude, don't blow out our fucking eardrums, man.
You only made single digits, Eric. Never go double-digit douchebag.
Sunday, 7 p.m. at SAP Center, San Jose. There's only 2 reasons not to be here. If you're in jail or you're dead. If you're jail,
Okay, so moving on.
I think we also lost Chris somehow. so-
No, I think Chris just got tired of it. He's like, fuck this, dude. I can't. Chris was like, fuck this. I tap out. I can't listen to that shit anymore.
Uh-oh, he's mute.
Hey, are you muted, bro?
Mute and unmute. I think you are.
Nope. Try logging out and have you tried turning it off and on again?
Chris.
Yeah. Try again, dude.
If anybody didn't get that, that's an IT crowd reference. Go watch it. It's awesome.
Oh, what are you running? Windows. We're going to die. So
All right.
anyway, moving on. Okay, I think we've kind of covered this game, and Chris needs to relog in.
So I guess we can say anything bad about Chris to his face. Oh, now we can. Okay.
Yeah, I think we covered this. To sum it all up, a good workman effort by the Sharks. Didn't get fancy, just came out and got the job done. That's basically as simple as you can put it. No real stupid moves. But I think the other thing, moving on, we have to do is
we got some hot stove cleanup we got to do.
Well, yeah, we got a couple things to touch on, and I'm sure we'll take it to the tweets in a little bit and do, of course, our favorite segment, the one question from Slushy Jake. But
I didn't get
anyway,
mine yet. Did you get yours yet?
yes, I got the question.
Okay.
So,
So
Yeah,
hey, we
there's
got him
Chris.
this time.
oh
Okay.
yay, you can actually hear me this time. And Eric, you will always, if you want to say anything bad about me, you have to say it to my doggy face, motherfucker.
That's right. All right, so let's move on to the prom that happened last Tuesday, or I guess the gala, whatever you want to call it, the San Jose Sharks event that celebrating the 25 years of the team in the league, covered for a full hour on CSN, which honestly almost made me collapse. The fact that CSN, I was expecting nothing more than to be like number 3 on their The Pulse segment. I didn't expect an entire show dedicated to interviews, Burns, Pavelski, whoever. I was pretty impressed with that. It would have been cool if the Sharks or some sort of media outlet would have covered the actual event where we would have heard the comments from the stage, where they came from Plotner, came from Mark Purdy. I heard he had actually a pretty good speech. Whether it came from any of the team members, anybody that spoke on stage, it would have been nice to seen some video from that. But the comments that we've all been kind of buzzing about since that evening is the fact that team owner Hasso Plattner has finally said or admitted he's concerned about the attendance. And I think most of us said, no shit, Sherlock. Maybe if you were around instead of, in Germany, you might be seeing it a little easier if your butt was actually an SAP, and you would see that when they say, for tonight's attendance, 15,769, and you look around and you see, yeah, you're barely cracking 12, boys.
So, as one of the engineers here, I just got a little math equation for that he can plug into his SAP Analytics. So, last year we're seasoned in 10 years, right? First time not making the playoffs in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Now, ticket prices, highest they've ever been. So let's plug that into SAP Analytics and see what that tells us. I'm not sure. Maybe the computers will come up with something different than me, but I'm gonna guess, maybe it'll come up with something interesting.
But
let's throw that out there.
Let's throw the formula in there, though, of the Warriors winning the NBA championship and are like badass as hell, and then let's add in the news of the Giants.
Hold on. The Giants had been doing really well in 2010. And the Warriors have had numerous sellouts. We know this. We know they had sellouts when they were bad. So that shouldn't have been affecting the attendance on the Sharks.
The Giants' success, the Warriors' recent success, even moving the Barracuda into the building, and then if you want to throw a couple of other small logs on the fire, whether it was the dismissal of one Mr. Drew Remenda, the addition of Ice Girls or an Ice Team, whatever the hell you want to call them, those, for the most part, are all very small logs on a big fucking fire. I think all of that can maybe account for 10-15% if you're uber optimistic about the lack of ticket sales. I think, for the most part, it comes down to two things. The reverse sweep, the offseason that followed that reverse sweep, where your big signing was John Scott, Doug Wilson finally uttering the word rebuild, and coming into last season where it was like they weren't even trying before the season even started. I mean, we had said it last year that it was, at least for me, I remember going into last season, I told Eric, I'm going, this is the first season I can remember where I wasn't excited. Like, they were clearly icing a worse team than the year before. Then pile on top of that, you bump up the time to renew your season tickets, and you increase the price. I mean, these are all very odd choices for the Sharks to make in that regard. But I think we can all agree the ticket prices, they're where they are now. They might be the same for the next 3 seasons to try to help lure fans back, but I don't think there is any way on earth they're going down.
They're not going down.
Yeah, I mean, you might see a promotion, which I think would be kind of cool.
We've seen a lot of promotions already. There was buy one get one promotion that they run on Cyber Monday.
Yeah,
So
there's
there have been
ridiculous promotions, but the one that they haven't thrown out, which I do think would be really cool, how about a throwback Thursday? Let's shit can the black jerseys for a couple years. Let's go with the heritage jerseys. And on Thursday nights, you know what you do? You charge 1994 prices for tickets, and they wear and you're encouraged to wear teal for that night. You know, some sort of promote where it's just straight up throwback. At least if you're gonna charge, I don't know. I would rather see them do a promotion where they charge less for tickets than tweeting out who wants free tickets or buy a game, get one free kind of thing.
Okay. I just gotta put one thing out there. Slushy, calm down. Okay, that got
calm the hell down, Slushy.
that got a lot of people riled up, because if you saw the first cut of what the women ice crew was going to wear versus the men ice crew, it wasn't as bad as the Dallas Stars, the Chicago Blackhawks, but it definitely was sexist. And you're in the Bay Area where equality rules, and that's never going to change. So why you would start that now? Only a dumbass would do that. John Torre, excuse me.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the Sharks fan base, it's pretty close to 50-50 from what I see at games. And for me, there's a personal element to the whole Ice Girls thing, in that there's a couple guys that go to my gym that I've known for years that are on the ice crew. And I heard from them, basically a few of them weren't going to be able to do it anymore. And it's just kind of like, what the hell? Like, it wasn't broke. It wasn't broke, and it affected people like that were kind of cool with me and that I talked to and learned, got in some insight into the players and all that, and it was kind of cool. And it's like, yeah, like, why are you? Yeah, it was just stupid. I think AJ largely nailed it. I think, though, it was more the reaction to the reverse sweep than the reverse sweep, because honestly, I think you would have had a better reaction, not a great reaction, if you just said, you know what, I think things went badly. We didn't play well in the end of that thing, but we're going to do exactly the same thing because that team was large. That was a very good team overall. Like, like if you just said, we're bringing them back, we believe in what this team is, and we think that this team can still, like, that's not an indication of this team. I think you would have had a better reaction. You wouldn't have had a great, because there would definitely have been an outcry of like, what the hell, you're not changing anything. But it would have been better than saying, well, we're going to dilly-dally,
sign John Scott.
Sign John Scott and utter the words rebuild. Like, they didn't do shit. Like, they basically just made it. I don't know. Like, it was the
wasted a year. They wasted a year of a prime year of Thornton and Marlowe. They just wasted.
And the worst part is that they wasted a year. They didn't do crap, and then they had the outdoor game, which should have been. I think, what was the word that Tator said? Like a stepping stool to get hockey more noticeable.
It was stool, all right.
Yeah, they just fell apart, and it didn't help the game at all, because it was the same old Sharks. They would have the game tied, and then it would be a weak-ass goal that cost them, and that was the way you show up on the biggest stage. You show up in front of 70,000 people on a national audience and just play like crap. I mean, it's ridiculous. I give them kudos for trying different things out. I have to say, I think the game presentation, while it's been great throughout the years, I think was starting to get a little stale. But they're trying things that I don't think that don't work. Ice Girls, that blew up the second that was exposed on Twitter. Then letting go of Drew Armenda, I mean, that was ridiculous.
That was huge.
I mean, and then
it was just consistent slap in the face after consistent slap in the face.
That was my
worst part.
That was my point. And let me address a couple things here on the Google chat. First off, Jake saying that Ice Girl shouldn't drive you to not renew your tickets. The team on the ice is what you focus on. Okay, yeah, that's exactly. You just kind of made the point against yourself to a certain degree, in that, yeah, the Ice Girls shouldn't be a focus. So why put them in those outfits? In fact, I know a lot of Sharks fans that they actually took, it was like a point of pride that we were one of, like, I think 4 or 5 or 6 teams that didn't have a group of girls in scantily, that were scantily clad, coming out there, running up and down the ice with the scrapers. There's no need for that. There's zero need for that. You can have guys, you can have girls. They used to be in black sweats, and that was it. There was no skin showing on either of them. It's just it's the whole idea of sex sells, and in this we're there for a game. I haven't heard anybody say, you know what, the Ice Girls, that's what did it for me. That's what no one is saying that. We're all just saying that from the time that they got reverse swept, every decision that they've made, no matter how big, no matter how small, has been questionable. And yes, we're obviously a passionate fan base. Jesus Christ, we do a fucking show after every game for free because we're that passionate, so we can talk about these guys.
I think Puck guys will take, actually.
Yeah, but we do, it's like, no, we're passionate, but there's a difference. If you see the 2000 team, where you've got guys Nolan and Ricci and you see this heart, they're not the most talented guys on the ice, but they bring heart and effort every game. You can get behind that, and you can see that every season the front office is trying to make that team better in some regard. But when you fast forward 16 years later and you see a lot of the talent, but it's the same things over and over, and your general manager and your COO or CEO, whatever the hell Tatora's COO, okay, is tied. When you see the GM and the COO continually make questionable choices over the last 18 months, you're going to start to lose faith. And the only way that these people listen to fans who want change is when they start seeing dollar signs dwindling out of their bank account because fans are fed up. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if you switched out the general manager and you made a couple signings. That would potentially help people start coming to the games because at least the fans are finally seeing a change, in that regard. That's all. But the shit with the Ice Girls and all the other stuff, that's drops in the ocean. But the thing is these decisions. You build a house brick by brick, and right now we've got one hell of a brick shit house that they've gone through, and that's what they're having to live in.
It was death by 1,000 cuts in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I think that even if this Sharks team does make the playoffs, I think it's going to take at least them winning one round to start bringing the fans back. I don't think the fans come back for round one. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think they'd come back, but I'm saying when they get to the playoffs, I think they'd sell out the building. But I'm saying if they get knocked out in the first round, even if it goes 7, if they get knocked out in the first round, I don't think it's going to put more butts in the seats the following year because I think it's the overwhelming, the attitude about it is, same old Sharks, just can't get over the hump. Not with Thornton, not with Marlowe.
I think to really get butts back in the seats next season, it would take playoffs, at least a single round win, and some meaningful moves in the off season. Which, to real quick to talk about what I said in the chat there, but what I was saying was basically after that reverse sweep, they needed to make a bold move. What they did was not a bold move. Either stand by your work and say, I think this team is good, I am standing by it. Make a drastic move like trade somebody, or torch the whole thing and burn it down and say we are rebuilding. But what they did was just kind of like they paid a lot of lip service to a change, but they didn't do shit.
And then they did do a bold move. They just did a dumb bold move.
Yeah, well, they stripped the captaincy, and really I don't know how anybody thought that was a good idea. And they just created chaos in that dressing room. I think more so than what would have gone on. I think the guys, they were pretty devastated. And I think that if you would have let them handle it themselves, left them to their own devices, I think that you could have still had Joe Thornton be the captain, and I think everybody would have kind of tried to rally around that. But once they saw that McClellan was going to neuter, or it was DW who neutered Joe, I think that they kind of all reacted to like, well, now what do we do? I really think that that ownership, or not ownership, that management really sabotaged the team last year.
No, last
They
season
divided up the
was
locker room is what that did.
Yeah.
It
last
didn't get
season.
them all unified around one thing. Sorry, AJ.
No, I was just going to say last season was just that was talking about an anomaly. That was just a nightmare. That was a bad dream.
Yeah, it was. It was. Okay, so let's go to the Marlowe rumors then, I guess, because we've been kind of
Finally,
going over.
25 minutes later.
Yeah, no kidding. But we
never
got
go on tangents.
a couple of things. One, we got Patrick Marlowe. That trade about him, or that potential trade, is, I guess you've got his agent looking for someone to.
Now that he has an agent.
Right. Somebody, he was given permission to take a look at the trade market. DW basically said, hey, look, I give you permission to take a look, reportedly. We don't know if this is really true. This is coming from CSM Bay Area. There's nobody else claiming this. You don't have the Bob McKenzie's or the Pierre LeBrun's, climbing on top of this one. This is purely a CSN deal. And so the agent was supposedly allowed to look for trades for Marlowe, and the talk of the town is that he's going to open up his no move clause so he can go to different places. I still don't know how this works with the cap. I mean, I broke down the cap number. If they trade him at the deadline, his remaining cap this year is $1.5 million. And that's what would count against whoever's taking him back this year, because it's actually, you divide his entire salary by the number of days in the schedule, and then you'll get to his cap hit. So basically, if you trade for him today, he'll have a $1.5 to $1.6 million cap hit, and then you'll have to deal with his $6,600,000, his devil number next year. So that's the real big sticking point, is who wants to pay a 38-year-old Patrick Marlowe, $6 million? And I just don't know who's going to take that back. What do you guys think?
I just don't know. I mean, yeah, he scored an empty netter tonight, but it just seems like there would be a lot of sense of overpayment or a lot of undervalued return for him at the moment. I don't think he's helping his cause out, if anything.
And to just clarify, the original rumor came from Pierre from ESPN, saying that Marlowe was being shopped. This CSN, what I'm saying that Kurz has reported, is the fact that his agent is now allowed to look for trades. That wasn't confirmed by ESPN. Just the original rumor that was started was an ESPN / Bob McKenzie, somebody higher. I think it might have been Friedman.
Yeah, it was Elliot Friedman back in November. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Friedman and LeBrun came out with the original story. CSN picked that up. Kurz kind of chimed in with the teams that he was willing to go to, which was New York, LA, and Anaheim. Now, Kurz stoked the fire again in this last week, and he's saying now that the agent was given permission by DW to search for a trade. That hasn't been confirmed.
3-0 Montreal with 14 left.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Sorry, I was reading something else. I would really love to know where this is being driven, because it's funny that it appears on one end it's San Jose kind of driving this, and then on the other end it seems like Marlowe's driving it because he employed an agent when his last deal was done with that one. So I would really like to know where this is driving, because you would think that the Sharks. This would be considered, if for some reason, obviously everything has to do with the return that they get back from Marlowe. That's the crux of the whole deal. Marlowe being traded, yeah, that's going to be another one of those small bricks that can upset the fan base, unless the return is like, wow, Wilson outdid himself with this. I know there weren't too many. I know there was a small amount of fans that were very upset when it's like, oh my God, Primo, Stewart, and Sturm just to get Thornton, and there were other people that went like, oh hell yeah, they loved that deal. And kind of the same thing when it was like, I was actually the same way when it was Shields and Friesen for Solani. Oh my God, we just fucking fleeced Anaheim. That's how I felt about it at the time. For this, it's all going to hinge on the return. And I think if you've seen what Wilson, I mean, granted, yeah, he's made some moves that were good early on. Really, what are the best moves that Wilson has made in the last couple of years? You know, I mean, you can talk about John Scott. You can talk about essentially giving Desjardins away for nothing now. Yeah, I mean,
Or even Gagliardi and Winnet.
Yeah, the whole
let's
McGinn
not get too
debacle.
deep down this rabbit hole of the Wilson stuff because
Yeah, no, but I'm
we've
just
been over
saying,
this a lot.
I'm just saying it comes down to a what have you done for me lately thing, and right now Wilson really hasn't done much. If he were to deal Marleau, the return would have to be spectacular, and I think you could probably also put his job on the line with that return.
Also,
that said, I don't think Marleau goes anywhere, at least not during the season. In the off season, maybe, but
okay. So we got a little bit of information from the gala, the Sharks gala, and it seems like DW and Hasso are on the same wavelength with this team. So I think DW is safe, and I think that Hasso is the blind leading the blind on this one.
Yeah,
So,
translation, Hasso doesn't know enough about hockey and is willing to own the Sharks as a loss because he has a ridiculous amount of cash.
okay, with that being said, we also have Drouin, who's hanging out there. Now, this kid is a 20-year-old in his second year of his ELC, and technically, if he's holding out long term, he could be his contract could be tolled for this year. So, in actuality, this year would be erased, and it would be like he has 2 years on an entry-level contract. So you've got him holding out, and you've got the Stamkos fluttering in the wind deal. So I think that there could be a move to be made with Tampa Bay, and if you know that Stamkos is not coming back to Tampa Bay, because let's face it, John Cooper just does not like him. What Steve Yzerman might do, and this was floated around a little bit on the podcast sphere from ESPN, was you might try and go all in with this Tampa Bay team now and try and get a complimentary piece, and that piece may, in fact, could be Marleau. I mean,
don't we owe Tampa Bay a favor? Future considerations for Nabokov?
Yeah, but that's like the time you buy your buddy a beer like 5 years ago, and
sense the sarcasm, Chris.
Okay, just making sure.
So if you could swing a deal for Marleau for some kind of future asset, and I'm not saying it's Drouin because I don't know if I want to touch that kid with the way that he's holding out, but if you could swing a deal where you could get a young player in return for Marleau, I think you probably jump on that because you want to replace the production that you're going to be having from Marleau's offense, and you're going to want to have something that's projected out into the future with some cap salary space and maneuverability.
Can I give a completely different theory here?
Sure.
So AJ was asking, how can they get away with trading Marleau and not have the fan base just lose their damn mind? Because we're already. Well, okay, but that's essentially what you're saying. So here's a thing.
That's not essentially what I say. I'm saying it wouldn't resonate well with the fans. I'm not saying that season ticket holders are going to be boycotting.
Well, not boycotting, but you think that'll do to season ticket sales? It probably is not going to help. But okay, so here's how Doug Wilson could soften the blow. And Gen X warning, I am about to make a 49ers analogy. If you recall, in the season ago, when Jed York was getting ready to dismiss Jim Harbaugh, he was leaking rumors every other week, trying to set up a narrative that Harbaugh wanted out or Harbaugh has lost the team, or he was trying to set up a narrative and excuse to fire him. Now, what if a rumor like this is being leaked out to set up a narrative Marleau wants out? So it looks like, well, we didn't get much back from him, but what could we do? He wanted out. So that's my other theory.
Nice CYA approach to it.
Yeah, maybe it's just it could be a leak by the team just to kind of like, well, if he wants out, there's nothing we can really do. I mean, what
kind
can
of
we
like
do?
the Jerome McGinley saga in Calgary, how they tried to, undermine him a little bit and say that he was the one that wanted out, so nobody would get their feelings hurt.
I hope that's not what it is, but it's political. All this stuff is political. That's how it goes, right?
Well, of course. I mean, why don't you think Drew Remenda has a job here anymore?
Yeah, I just think that if he wants out so badly, I think that it would have happened already.
Yeah.
And I think
it was mentioned too. I can't remember who, and I bet you Rocket would be able to know. But I believe they had discussed it yesterday on the Teal Tinted Glasses podcast. Marlo Patrick doesn't necessarily wear the pants in that relationship. Christina is entrenched in San Jose. From what I understand, a teacher. They've got kids that have met his wife here. They grew up here, but moving away probably not something that is that appealing. So I kind of go back to what Chris was saying is, maybe this is a case of the Sharks are just kind of set themselves up to look good PR-wise because they've certainly had enough negative PR over the last 20 months.
He's still holding the cards though. He's got a full no move. So if he doesn't want to go, he doesn't have to go anywhere. And I think that's the whole wrench is that his wife wants him to stay on the West Coast, and I think it would be management suicide if he traded Marlo to L.A. or Anaheim. And
okay, that could potentially, I could see maybe a couple season ticket holders maybe dropping off because of that, but. Yeah, I mean, I still believe that as long as Wilson is running this team, he just has a Jones that he'll have a guy who was a lifelong Shark that never played for another team. I
don't buy that though, because I mean, if he drafted him, maybe, but he didn't.
I know, but remember though, when Wilson took over this team, Marlo, I think he was barely cracking the second line, and some of that had to do with just a lack of talent that the team had at the time. You're talking, maybe this is a guy who at that point would maybe be considered, I don't know, I guess the best you could describe him as maybe a hurdle kind of player who's a little streaky, can play wing, can play center, but doesn't have it all together just yet. And by the time Wilson took over, then it was kind of like, okay, this is a guy that we're going to hitch our truck to. There are many fans that thought he was so streaky. I know fans that wanted Marlo gone back in the early 2000s because if you also think about it, he just wasn't a guy who fit Sutter and Lombardi's mold at the time. You had the guys like Nolan Ricci and Sundstrom and Scott Thornton and these kind of harder, edgier guys. Like a guy like Dustin Brown. Just a guy who plays on the edge, who's got a nasty streak, which of course Marlo doesn't have any of. I think sometimes I believe Wilson just places a lot of, they're just a really nice person and a really nice family person and they have a good hockey IQ. But you know what? Great. You've been doing that for I don't know how long. It hasn't been working. What in the hell is that supposed to be?
That's the tinfoil conspiracy theory, apparently.
Now, Pucknology After Dark.
Okay, I think we've beaten the Marlo drum enough. We should talk about how we're going wild this weekend and then wrap it up, probably.
With the crowning? We'll be going wild and then crowning. So Saturday.
Crown their ass!
Saturday, remember, it's a 1 p.m. start. Sharks versus Minnesota Wild. It is Kids' Day Out. So let's hope for a lot of kids there for the attendance, folks. But looks like Minnesota's on the verge of beating LA, unless LA makes a dramatic comeback. And they're in a fight themselves for a playoff spot. They're at 52, going to 54 if they hold on to this victory tonight.
Yeah. It's going to be these two games are going to be very important because you're going to potentially play that game in hand that you've got on Arizona, And so you want to distance yourself. You already distanced yourself today by skipping 2 points ahead of them, and you still have a game in hand. If you can win that game in hand and be 4 points ahead of them, that'd be a really good, strong position for the Sharks. So, it's very hard to win back-to-backs in this league, but if there was ever a time for them to go on a continuation of the hot streak at home, this is the time to do it now.
Yeah, this weekend is absolutely huge for the Sharks. They can actually afford to let the Colorado game go if they can win both games this weekend. You've got Minnesota. It's basically going to be the same deal. Both teams playing tonight, then both teams getting rested for tomorrow. I'm sure both. Obviously, the Sharks are probably already on their way back here right now. Wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota flies up here tonight. So both teams are going to be in the same situation. So at least Minnesota is traveling. Like I said, I would start Jones both games. But I think you take advantage of that, and then take advantage of the fact too that while we are on a second of a back-to-back versus LA, 7:00 Sunday night, LA will have played Arizona the night before in Arizona and have to fly up that night, so they'll be on the second of back-to-backs, but they're traveling, and I believe their game is actually later. I don't know, Eric will have to check that.
The Sharks Minnesota will be over by the time they drop the puck at 6 p.m. in Phoenix.
So hopefully the Sharks can take advantage of that timing quirk and this little quirk in the schedule.
Yeah, they do play their makeup game or their game in hand on Sunday against the Kings, because you have the Coyotes off that night, and the Coyotes would have played the night before against the Kings. So it's going to be a dogfight in this division, and it's going to come down to who's going to be the one to step up and beat up on the other in-division foes. And the Sharks have a really heavy in-division schedule, as Chris pointed out. So,
your thoughts, Chris?
So I think actually the weekend, I think they just need to go 1-1 for the weekend. I think mostly they want to get that last game, get a win, so at least get 2 out of 3 going into the break. That's the main thing, is they got to kind of maintain the positive momentum, I think, mostly. Like, if they win 1 out of 2 this weekend, I don't think it's as big of a deal. If you have to win one of those 2, the Kings game is the one you want to win. So if they drop the Wild, beat the Kings and the Avalanche, I think they're set up really well.
And let's be honest, you have Minnesota, Los Angeles, Colorado, all at home, 3 games, and then you get essentially a week off, with the exception of Pavelski and Burns, and then you're back at it on the 2nd against Anaheim.
Though also, if they did win all 3, not impossible, I don't know if it's going to happen, if they win all 3, that would put them at 11, 12, and 1 at home, which would get them damn near 500 at home. So there's an opportunity to kind of finally make good on your home ice.
Yeah, no, I think this is the pivot moment right now. They can either, go into start nipping on the heels of the upper echelon. If they can try and win all 3 games, I think you stand pat if you go 2-1. If in the next 3 games, I think if you're kind of status quo, and if you go anything less than 1-1, then I think that's bad. I think you're going to start to head back into the pack again.
Yeah, 1-1 though would give them, I believe that would be a 6-2-2, I think. Would it be 6-2-2 or 6-2? Yeah, 6-2-2. Or if they did 2-1, that would give them 7-8-1 or 7-1-2, something like that. Which, good record. I mean, I think that's the main thing, is go into the break on a positive note, have momentum, good chance to come back out of the break and keep on going. February is always that bad month for the Sharks, so
get as many points as you possibly can, even if you have to pull a Vancouver and send it into overtime and eventually lose.
Yeah, bank them now before February begins. Although we already had February and December, so hopefully that's it.
Exactly. A couple of things we kind of touched on before my connection went haywire last time. March 5th is the annual Sharks Tweet Up. For those
who's on versus?
That is versus Vancouver. That is a Hockey Night in Canada game. That's a 7 p.m. face-off. We will meet by the Sharks Foundation kiosk like we usually do. Yes, Gen X, this is the game where you get the buttons. All right, I still have to work on the design and actually buy them March 5th. And something I've kind of, just nothing fancy or anything. We will meet up during the game, but April 9th. I think AJ would probably know this night, especially from the beginning. Reveal your teal night is what we're going to try to do. It is fan appreciation night. It's the last game of the season, where we're just going to have everybody try and get the word out and wear your teal. If it's before we go into the playoffs, even better. To try to jump that ocean of teal attitude as we go into the postseason. So March 5th and April 9th, if you got tickets for that, awesome. Expect to be there. Tell your friends, tell your kids, tell everybody. And then April 9th, all teal. No black armor, no original black armor, no white, no Barracuda orange Gentry. And let's go all teal.
Oh man.
Oh, and Slushy Jake, if you want to go, please get permission from your mom and dad.
And AJ.
Wow. With that, we will wrap it up. We will be back with you Saturday. Gentry and I will be at the game, so we will have a first-hand account. I'll be on probably 6 hours of sleep, but who knows?
That means you'll be rolling with me and probably Ian?
Yes. Ian, I know you're not feeling well. Get well soon, bud. Maybe Chris, maybe AJ, who knows?
Wait, what? What are we talking about? I missed a memo.
Saturday.
Oh yeah, Saturday. No, I'm out on Saturday.
I'm out on Saturday. It's SF Beer Week, and I will not be. I will not be. You won't be able to understand me.
Okay, so you're definitely rolling with the Canadian and the Southern Californian then.
I'll see you on Sunday.
And with a live report
Same here.
on from the tank from me and Gentry. So make sure you subscribe below. Make sure you follow all of us on Twitter. Make sure you check out Pucknology.net. AJ just put up a cool article.
AJ, you got to ask the question. He didn't get his question.
Oh, the Slushy J question.
I fucking forgot it, man. I'm just kidding. No, it was something about something that was most meaningful in the 2006 playoffs versus Edmonton. It was a save or something. And I'm sorry, there was nothing more meaningful than the Torres hit on Mahalik in that game. It totally changed it. There's no reason to talk about anything other than that for that series.
I would say Toskala giving the puck away after a 5-minute power play changed the momentum of the game.
That changed the momentum of the game. Mahalik going out from the hit on Torres, that changed the entire series because it proved that the Sharks could be pushed around.
Yep, and unfortunately still can be. So
it's a little better. I mean, the Detroit game.
All right.
So with that, Sharks win 3-1. They're back in second. And until Saturday afternoon, we're only not quite after dark. Keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. I'm going to bed. Good night.